Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and I love to do sewing and DIY and thrifting, and I've been thrifting a bunch actually in the last few weeks, and I've collected a lot of things from all of my trips that I took, and I decided it's finally time to tackle my thrift flip pile. And I challenged myself this week to transform 3 items that I thrifted and make them into pieces that I can actually wear and make them into very fun and cute clothing items for my everyday life, basically. And the first thing that I want to transform is actually this checkerboard bedding or bed sheet that I have here. I got this one for €5 and it is very 80s. Like the one side of the bed sheet is this very cool, almost like skater girl sort of vibe, this checkerboard print here. And then the other side is this very fun and also a bit weird like 80s pattern. And I think in this video I'm actually going to be focusing on the checkerboard side because that is something that I actually like to wear. So I would like to make some really cool wide leg pants out of this and add some fun pockets and have like a nice pair of breathable pants for the summer. And this is actually 100% cotton, so I think this is the perfect material for this project. And then the next item that I have is this sort of linen or linen blend shirt right here. So this is a top that I thrifted almost, I think, a month or 2 months ago when I was at my parents' place, and it is this very nice dark chocolatey brown color, and I love the cut. I think it is quite cool actually, but I'm not really in love with how plain it is. I think this is a good base to basically transform it and make it a bit more fun and more colorful. So I would like to add some ribbon, maybe here at the neckline or also down at the back, to sort of give it some sort of pop of color basically and make it a bit more me and a bit more whimsical. And then lastly, I have this gorgeous silk scarf, or at least I hope it is silk. We actually need to test that in this video. And this one I got for €10. This is actually the most expensive piece of my collection right now. And I just love the colors. I love this sort of very cool and bright pink with this sort of pistachio olive green. I think it looks so nice, and I just love the print and how it feels. The texture is quite lovely as well, and I decided to make a shirt out of this. So just a shirt that you can throw on, or maybe some sort of blouse that you can throw on in the summer. And yeah, I think it is super fun. As you can see, it has a lot of damage, and I actually think I overpaid a bit for this piece. As I said, I paid €10, and as you can see here, it has plenty of holes, but I hope that we can work around that actually when cutting out our pattern pieces. For my first project, I will actually be transforming this checkered bedsheet into a pair of pants. I will be using the Pomona pants pattern. I've used that one in the past, for example, to make my green corduroy pair of pants. It's a very easy pant pattern because it basically eliminates the side seam, and you only have to attach like the inner leg seams together. And yeah, the pants are very comfortable to wear, and I think this makes for a great flowy summer pair of pants. I've just added my pockets. I've overlocked the edges here, and this is actually denim fabric that I had left over from my tapestry inspired jacket. So yeah, this is the perfect use for them, and now I will place them onto my checkered fabric and sew them on, and after that I can close off the side seams as well as the crotch seam, and then it's time for the waistband. This pant pattern is super quick to make, which is why I like it so much. Pretty good pattern matching, if I do say so myself. I think that looks really good. Just a couple millimeters off, I think, but overall pretty nice, pretty seamless. So the next thing that I want to tackle is this brown linen shirt that I have, and I have a couple of issues with it. So the first issue is definitely the sleeve hole here. It is a little bit tight on me, like it does fit, but it is a little uncomfortable, and also the facing is just sticking out all the time. I think they did a pretty bad job at attaching the facing because yeah, every time I wear it, it just pops out, like it always wants to roll the other way, which is not very nice. And the same thing is also happening here at the neckline facing. So yeah, it's not really that well stitched, I would say. I think my first step will be to just widen the armholes by maybe just a centimeter even. I think that should be plenty. So I would just do a zigzag stitch along the edges here, and then I'm gonna be folding it over once and just do a top stitch. And I have this brown thread. That's not plenty actually, but I think should be enough for this. Quite a good color match. And then I have this ribbon here that I found at a flea market for just €1. And it is plenty and it's very nice and vintage. And I thought I could use this to add a little bit of detail to this shirt, because otherwise it is quite plain. And maybe I can add it to the neckline here and maybe also on the back side. And this would also help stitch down the facing. And by the way, thank you to everyone who wanted to see my thrift finds that I got on my trip to Italy. I'm gonna share them in just a second. I got a couple of things actually, a couple of clothing items, and then I got some pieces not secondhand, which I will also show you in a second. So the first two items that I got were these very cute handmade mugs. I got them in a little town on the Amalfi Coast, which is apparently very known for pottery. And I got one for my mom and one for me. So my mom will get the blue one here and I will get the turquoise one. And that's why I can finally share it because it is a late gift for Mother's Day for my mom. And they're just so cute. I love them so much. And they're very big, so perfect for your morning coffee. And you can actually put them in the dishwasher, which is perfect. So the next thing that I got was this very fun pair of, I guess, swimming shorts or just regular summer shorts. They have a pocket in the back and this very cute floral pattern in a very fun yellow. And I'm not really sure if I would use them for swimming, honestly, but they have this swimming or sports lining, which I don't like, so I'm probably gonna remove that. I think a lot of things could be replaced and made a bit better. Yeah, but I really like them. I got them in Florence and they might be coming up in a future thrifting video. So yeah, that is the pocket. In here you can see the color a bit better. So my favorite thing that I actually got is this dress, which I'm going to show to you in a second. I got this one in Bologna and I have to say this is more for autumn or winter because it is long sleeves and quite warm, but it looks so cute and I think it's like totally my color scheme and I'm super happy that I found it. So before I start sewing this fabric, I actually would like to know what kind of material this is. By the price of it and everything, I'm assuming that it is silk, and also like it has a few holes, and by the way it keeps fraying, I'm kind of thinking that it might be silk. I paid €10 for this. This was way more than I wanted to pay. I tried to ask the cashier for a discount, but she's like, no, sorry. But yeah, I actually really love this fabric and I would like to sew it into a shirt. But yeah, before that I would like to test if it's silk or not. So my strategy will be to just cut out a piece of the fabric here and do the burn test to see how it burns. If it melts and creates sort of a plasticky fume, then I know that it's a synthetic fiber. But if it does not melt and instead produces like a brittle ash, then it is supposed to be silk. I think this is silk. Like as you can see, it leaves some very brittle ash as a residue. And it does smell like burnt hair, and it immediately stops burning once you remove it from the flame. So I would call that a success. I got a good fabric at least for my 10 bucks. So now we can get to sewing. So for my last project, I actually want to make a shirt out of this fabric, and I will be using the Lucy shirt pattern. I've used this pattern in the past and I really like it because you can customize the sleeve length as well as the length of the shirt. And I just like how it falls on me. This is my first time sewing with silk, and it was actually quite hard because the fabric was already pretty old and it kept fraying on me. So I decided to use some teeny tiny strips of interfacing and basically iron them wherever a seam would be, so that my needle would have something to grab to, and hopefully that my seams would be enforced and strong for a long time. So I have just attached the collar, and it was quite hard. Not my best work, I have to say. There's a lot of puckering. But yeah, I think it's fine for me and fine for my purpose. You definitely should not look on the inside of this thing. It is very hard to sew silk. But I think for like my first silk piece, I'm actually doing okay. And I just love how it flows and how it like falls on me. I think that is so nice. And yeah, now I will attach the interfacing here, like the front interfacing where you put the buttons, and then afterwards I will do the sleeves. So here's a little sneak peek of the shirt right now. I still need to do the buttons and the bottom hem, but I think that is a project for tomorrow. So it is the next day and I'm currently choosing buttons. So these are the ones that I have. I quite like them, but I don't have enough of the same kind. So I'm using these ones and they are very slightly different. So this one only has 2 buttonholes and then this one has 4. But I think I can alternate them and sort of make it look intentional. And it's a bit hard to sew the buttonholes on. So I'm very thankful that I did interfacing here actually for the button placket, because the fabric is just so thin and flimsy. But I think with the interfacing it is actually okay. So I just did 1 test buttonhole here and it seems to be working. And now I just need to figure out the spacing, and then I'm basically done, and then it's time for the reveal.